I hear the way she talks about Al-Qaeda. She said, you can hold your chest out. You can, when I think of America, when I think of Al-Qaeda, I can hold my chest out. That was Omar.
I remember when I was in college, I took a terrorism class. Every time the professor said Al-Qaeda, he sort of like his shoulders went up. But it is that you don't say America with an intensity. You don't say England with an intensity. You know, but you say these names because you want that word to carry weight.
Is that anti-Semitism has no place in the United States Congress. And Congressman Omar is terrible what she said. And I think she should either resign from Congress or she should certainly resign from the House Foreign Affairs Committee. What she said is so deep-seated in her heart. I think she should resign from Congress, frankly. But at a minimum, she shouldn't be on committees, certainly that committee. Our movement, Nancy and Chuck, two beauties, have given control of the Democrat Party entirely over to the radical left, including Minnesota's own Representative IIHAN Omar. You know, I know you people. I know you people. I know the people of Minnesota. And I want to tell you, and I also at the same time, it's both a question and a statement. How the hell did that ever happen? How did it happen? How did it happen? Congresswoman Omar is an America-hating socialist. She minimized the September 11th attack on our homeland, where far more than 3,000 people died, saying some people did something, big deal, some people did something. She pleaded for compassion for ISIS recruits right here in Minnesota. Omar laughed that Americans speak of Al-Qaeda. Remember that tape? Speak of Al-Qaeda. But when we say something about the United States, you just don't say America with any intensity. Remember that? Representative Omar has a history of launching virulent anti-Semitic screeds, whether you like it or not. She said the U.S. support for Israel is all about the Benjamins. She said that pro-Israel lawmakers have an allegiance to a foreign country. Omar wrote that Israel has hypnotized the world. May Allah awaken the people and help them to see the evil doings of Israel and the United States. How do you have such a person representing you in Minnesota? I'm very angry at you people right now. She is a disgrace to our country, and she is one of the big reasons that I'm going to win and the Republican Party is going to win Minnesota in 13.
He said, because he's right on, he's correct. And with that, I yield a minute and a half to the gentleman from Florida, Mr. Gates.
Gentleman from Florida is recognized for 1.5 minutes.
Thank the gentleman for yielding, and I fully associate myself with the comments from the gentleman from New York condemning anti-Semitism, full stop, entirely appropriate thing to do. I just think it's curious how we ended up here. I mean, we are having this debate right now because Democrats had an objection to something said by a Democrat. And so they launch off on this drafting project. And then lo and behold, I hear all the remarks on the floor, and a lot of the substance in the resolution is about President Trump and criticizing him and trying to open wounds. And so this is unfortunately becoming the new mantra of the left in the Congress. When they've got a problem that they can't solve, It must be President Trump's fault. It's a lot of the sentiment that we see echoed out of the Judiciary Committee, where there is no Russian collusion. The Mueller report is about to drop. Democrats know it is not going to allege Russian collusion, and so they have to launch an 81-pronged investigation to harass our president. They can't get their own house in order, so everything's got to be the fault of a president who is creating more economic opportunity, reducing unemployment, ending wars, and doing a heck of a job for the country. I thank the gentleman for Georgia, and I yield back.
Finish to the gentleman from Texas, Mr. Gomer.
Gentleman from Texas is recognized.
Thank you, Speaker. According to Proverbs, something that people who are practicing Jews and Christians believe, says there are 7 things that are detestable to the Lord. One is haughty eyes, another lying tongue, another hands that shed innocent blood, a heart that devises wicked schemes, feet that are quick to rush into evil, a false witness who pours out lies, and a person who stirs up conflict within the community. It goes so far as to say these are things the Lord hates. So the word hate is not wrong in the Jewish and Christian tradition, but anything beyond this is wrong. And yes, there have been persecution of Christians, there have been persecution of Muslims, but anybody who has persecuted a people in the name of Christianity was not acting as a Christian. That is not part of the faith. But what makes this so dangerous, and the reason I will vote against this resolution, is because we came here because of an anti-Semitic remark. And we came here to condemn anti-Semitism. But this resolution, as changed up over the last hour, now condemns just about everything. And the reason that is so dangerous is that anti-Semitism, hatred for the children of Israel, is a very special kind of hatred that should never be watered down. There has never been a persecution of a people like the Jewish people. From 1933 to 1945, over 6 million killed. And it started with little things, hateful remarks made about the children of Israel that grew and grew. And as if it was okay because it was made by somebody who had a grudge, it was let go, and it built until it led to the death of 6 million Jews. And we have to say, no, we will not let it go on. And that's why I'll vote against it.
Took down Osama bin Laden. The Republican members joined with Democrats as Americans to praise the president. Unfortunately, today, Democrats are incapable of giving this president credit where credit is due, which only emboldens Iran. I'm surprised to be faced with this partisan resolution today. We should be standing together, as the chairman mentioned, as a nation. Instead, this resolution plays politics with national security. Yesterday, the president laid out a measured response to Iran's ballistic missile attacks. Let me be clear, the president is not seeking war with Iran. The president has shown, if anything, great restraint regarding Iran, including after Iran's downing of a U.S. drone, a U.S. military asset. But in their blind contempt for the president, my colleagues are ignoring the assessments of career intelligence and military professionals. Our colleagues on the other side are downplaying the murderous evil of Soleimani, the mastermind of terror in the Middle East for over 2 decades. Soleimani was designated as a terrorist by the Obama administration. He was responsible for the deaths of more than 600 Americans and wounded thousands more. Soleimani was involved in the Iranian plot to assassinate the Saudi ambassador to the United States on American soil in Georgetown, right in this city. Soleimani oversaw Iran's support for Assad in Syria, including convincing Russia to fight for Assad, killing hundreds of thousands. This year, Soleimani played a key role in the crackdown on protesters in Iraq that killed hundreds of Iraqis. It should be clear to any reasonable person The Soleimani posed a long-term threat to the United States and to innocent civilians in the Middle East and across the globe. We don't need to get into classified details to see Soleimani's clear threat. According to the Department of Defense, in the last 2 months, Soleimani and his proxies launched 12 attacks against U.S. forces and facilities in Iraq. On December 27th, his Iranian proxies killed an American and injured 4 U.S. servicemen near Kirkuk. On December 31st, his Iranian proxies launched an assault on the United States Embassy in Baghdad. But Soleimani was not done. Secretary Pompeo said that Soleimani was, quote, actively plotting to take big action that would put dozens, if not hundreds, of U.S. lives at risk, which DOD said targeted, quote, American diplomats and service members in Iraq.
The honor of actually winning a seat in Congress, and she says we're a terrible country. I think that's about as ungrateful as you can get. And so while I'm not saying we forcibly send her anywhere, I'm willing to contribute to buy her a ticket to go visit Somalia. And I think she could look and maybe learn a little bit about the disaster that is Somalia, that has no capitalism, has no God-given rights guaranteed in a constitution, and has about 7 different tribes that have been fighting each other for the last 40 years. And then maybe after she's visited Somalia for a while, she might come back and appreciate America more.
Omar laughed that Americans speak of al-Qaeda in a menacing tone and remarked that you don't say America with this intensity. You say al-Qaeda makes you proud. Al-Qaeda makes you proud. You don't speak that way about America. And at a press conference just this week, when asked whether she supported al-Qaeda, that's our enemy. That's our enemy. They are a very serious problem that we take care of, but they always seem to come along somewhere. She refused to answer. She didn't want to give an answer to that question. Omar blamed the United States for the crisis in Venezuela. I mean, think of that one. And she looks down with contempt on the hard-working Americans, saying that